What is up, everybody? Man, tonight is the night of technical difficulties. Okay, unbelievable. It just happens. You see, in the beginning, things freeze up. Computer wants to do updates. You name it, it always happens. If you don't know me, I'm Tony Dixon Cutillo. Do the Fantasy Firebox here on Win Daily Sports. Do a show on Monday and Wednesdays with John Jansen. We touch on the Monday Night Showdown game. We touch on some early looks on Wednesdays, but tonight, filling in for my boy JJ, who's always busy. My man Stoby's having some internet connections. I always have some computer connections as well, but I'm here. And again, we're going to talk about some running back and wide receiver touches and targets. Early look. Obviously, we have the 3 games on Thanksgiving, which are absolutely putrid, in my opinion. If you think otherwise, please let me know why, because I think these games absolutely suck. Nothing in them for me whatsoever. We will look at it real fast. I go over, but as you're tuning in, get me who you think your best plays are this week from the wide receiver and running back position. We had some unbelievable, obviously elite performances by my man Jonathan Taylor, who I absolutely loved last week, who I think will continue to excel. Dalvin Cook playing very, very well, as you know, always. You see last night, Chris Godwin getting in the mix, Mike Evans getting in the mix. You know, listen, there's a lot of good performances going on, and we're going to talk about it right here. So let's look at first the Thursday games. And again, I don't think there's ever been. I mean, we go back to the Wayne Fontenot days of the Detroit Lions, and I understand that it is a foregone conclusion that because it's Detroit, it's the Motor City. You know, they have to be on Thursday football. I get it for Thanksgiving, but this is just a terrible lineup. At least you used to have the really good game after the 1:00 game, or maybe even the night game was pretty good. But I look at these right off the bat, especially from a DFS level, and I go, okay, Chicago, Detroit, Andy Dalton comes out slinging. No, Fields has the rib injuries. Detroit, we already know. Are we going to get Tim Boyle again? Like, are we going to get Tim Boyle? Please tell me we're not. Okay. And then you have Las Vegas and Dallas. Dallas, 9 points. You made Steve Spagnuolo look like he was an elite defensive coordinator, which he is not. So there's some question marks there. Las Vegas, a lot of question marks there. That offense is not the same without Henry Ruggs as their speedster. And obviously, with all the adversity they felt as well with the John Gruden issue. So there's just a lot of question marks. And then you go, maybe we get a game at 8:00 with Buffalo and New Orleans, because Buffalo, obviously, they're still uber talented, just going through some learning curves right now, as a second-year dominant team, in my opinion. And New Orleans, I mean, we're going to get Trevor Siemian, who actually did okay. Do we get Alvin Kamara back? Don't know. These early short weeks, when you have injuries, it's really tough to gauge, because usually these guys do not come back, to be honest with you, okay? That's usually what happens. So again, most people are going to tune into this later because this is a football show and everybody's getting ready for their NBA DFS, and they're probably in Discord right now with my man Ghost, who's just killing it as always. But check us out. Throw us in the comments. Give me who your stacks are, who your target share guys are, and who you're looking at. So right off the bat, if you're just going by the Thursday games, okay, because that's obviously what we're gonna focus on right now, because they're first. Josh Allen is 7,800. He takes a dip from -3, right? He was 8,100 last week. He's 7,800 this week. That's a $300 dip. Is it Dak Prescott at 6,900? Looks like a really decent value. As long as he can start slinging it the way we think he can sling it, right? So, I mean, I don't know. None of them really get me excited, but we're here for running backs and receivers on this show. Okay, and one of the most overrated running backs in fantasy football will continue, in my opinion, to be Ezekiel Elliott. I said this in the beginning of the year, and I'll say it still today. This guy doesn't always want to play football. And when you have the mindset that you really don't care about the game, you're going to get very inconsistent performances. And that is what's going on with Zeke. Tony Pollard absolutely looks like the better polished guy right now, just because of his speed burst and his, I would say, his willingness to go all out, which is something that I don't think Zeke is right now. I think there's a lot of internal problems on that team. They lose Amari Cooper, so that obviously hurts. He's not going to play again because of COVID protocols. It's a short week again. So you have to look at these things. But from a target share and from a value standpoint, I really like Tony Pollard. I just mentioned his name for 5,600. You can run against the Vegas Raiders. Obviously, this game is at home. Dallas always usually plays well on Thanksgiving Day. So 5,600 for Tony Pollard to me is a really good bargain, honestly, because I think, you've seen the ankle injury with Ezekiel Elliott. Will he be a 100%? I don't know. But one thing is for certain that Tony Pollard is getting a lot of shares of the rock. So that is something that definitely stay tuned on. Now, when we go to the Chicago side, you have to think about, when we talk about Chicago, Detroit, you think about, is it Devin Singletary going to give you that game, right? I mean, David Montgomery. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Singletary, Montgomery, but is Montgomery going to give you that game? Now does get 14 carries this game, 4.1 yards. Nothing crazy, right? Not looking like that guy. He hasn't really been himself since he's come back from week 4. Could this be the game against Detroit? It is Thanksgiving. And again, for 6,000, not a bad play. Not a bad play. One thing that the Chicago defense likes to do is run block. And now that they have Andy Dalton, who is not a mobile quarterback, okay, they are going to run the ball a little more than they used to under Field. So I honestly think that he could get up to 20 plus carries in this game. I do. So I do like David Montgomery specifically for volume. We talk about volume a lot, and volume right now for David Montgomery is going to be key. Alvin Kamara is still questionable. Even Mark Ingram's questionable. That the New Orleans backfield, I can't trust right now until they get healthy. Buffalo, is it Singletary? Is it Moss? Is it Breida? I don't even know, right? I don't know. Listen, the Eagles ran all over the New Orleans Saints because they are a running team. Will the same thing happen this week with Buffalo? But if it does, who's going to be the guy? And they're all 49, 48, 47. There's no even value right there. So I don't touch those running backs at all, to be honest with you. The one guy I do like, though, is you got to like DeAndre Swift. You got to like DeAndre Swift. This kid, when he came out of Georgia, I said it before and I'll say it again, he is super talented. He really is. Now, the week before in the tie, he gets 33 carries. Last week, he only gets 14. But guess what? 136 yards, almost average 10 yards per carry. This guy with that 57-yard run, you all seen it. He goes up 300 in DFS. Again, it's against the Detroit Lions. Nobody there to stop him. I mean, against the Chicago Bears, no Khalil Mack in the middle. Obviously, he out for the year. That is their big guy that patrols that box. And unfortunately, not there. DeAndre Swift, I predict big game. He will be getting the turkey leg. Now, Madden used to get that turkey leg all the time, right? John, I predict that this will be the turkey leg player right here of that game. It will be DeAndre Swift. And again, for 7,300, when we start getting into this and see what the other values of those running backs are, I think it's a really good play, especially because you're going to have guys at $89,000 and $9,000. Now, going to the receiver market, when we talk about touches, that means volume, right? That means volume. And I'm going to continually go after my boy Hunter Renfrow. I am. I'm just going to go after him every single week. Now, last week was an anomaly. Doesn't normally happen. He only had 4 targets, but he had a 100% target to receiving ratio, which means he caught every single pass thrown his way. But every single week before that, he's averaging 8+ targets. In this game, honestly, I see the same thing. I think Dallas gets on back on track a little bit. I think Vegas gets a little momentum behind them. They're going to utilize Darren Waller a lot more. Maybe they get Deshaun Jackson to keep those safeties, honest a little bit. You're going to have Trevon Diggs patrolling around as always, but I like Hunter Renfrow at this salary. I think he's a sure bet to get you 5 catches for 60 yards, and I think he scores this week. So if that's the case, you're going to get about 20 DK points for Hunter Renfrow for 5,600. So that's a really good value. I always am a Hunter Renfrow guy. Now, when we look at value, I mean, again, it's early. You still have question marks. Is Cole Beasley going to play? If Cole Beasley does play, I like him a lot because I still think that you're going to have Lattimore and you're going to have Jenkins that are going to be released on Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs. That's going to leave it open for either Cole Beasley or Gabrielle Davis. I think Gabrielle Davis could be a very sneaky play in this week. I really do. I think he could be a very sneaky play, starting to get more involved the last couple weeks. I know we're only talking about 3 or 4 targets, but he's starting to get involved. Remember, this is an offense that was easily destroying everybody last year, and they hit a couple speed bumps. So they're going to try to reinvent themselves a little bit. And what does that mean? That might maybe inserting guys like Gabrielle Davis and Isaiah McKenzie into the fold to kind of, change things up a little bit. So at $3,600, he could be one of your filling guys this week in your DFS slate, or even if you're doing a 3-game slate for Thanksgiving. I think it could be a guy you look at, a boomer bust guy, obviously, but for that amount of money, I really don't think that you can beat it. Everybody else, kind of, man, there's no need to go through it, right? We know about Stephon Diggs, and about CeeDee Lamb, you know about Darnell Mooney, right? It looks like he had a nice connection with Andy Dalton for 5,700. Could be a nice play again against that terrible Detroit team. Listen, you see those games. Let's flip the script, okay, and let's go with the main slate, which obviously is going to be Sunday. And let's see who those top guys are. Now, obviously, when we talk about the running back, we just talked about, you're going to look at a couple guys, 89, 9,000, and look right off the top of the charts. You're talking Jonathan Taylor at 9,100. You're talking Christian McCaffrey at 9,000. Big money plays. Jonathan Taylor, to me, obviously, 9,100 is a lot of money, but he's getting that Derrick Henry pay up category. He's getting that C-Mac pay up category. This guy is on a mission. And again, big deal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though I love Devin White and I love Levante David, and I know Ndamukong Suh can still get after the running back and the quarterback, but Vita Vea is their guy in the middle. So if Vita Vea does not play again, keep an eye on that Jonathan Taylor situation, because that $9,100 will not look as big when you talk about that run stuffer in the middle not being able to play. So I think you continue to ride. Jonathan Taylor. Now, my man Javon checking in. Javon, how do you feel about Amon-Ra St. Brown at DFS for Detroit? Listen, you know what? All those plays, honestly, they're the kind of game, they're the kind of plays we're going to look at on Thanksgiving Day, right? Obviously, because I don't want to put a lot of stock, obviously, when you talk about Detroit, into, who am I going to put it in? Khalif Raymond? Is that the guy I'm going to put all my stock in, right? I mean, do you want to go all in with Hawkinson? It all depends. Listen, I did not see enough from Tim Boyle to get any kind of excitement, right? Not even a little bit to say, wow, maybe he can. I can't do it. I can't. And that's my biggest issue. It's the Tim Boyle effect. But if you're going to take a shot on anybody in Detroit, obviously DeAndre Swift is a must. He's not taking a shot. But if you're going to take a shot in any receivers, I like St. Brown. I tried to take a shot on him, I think in like week 3 or 4. He has the speed. Reminds me, of a kind of like an Oz Hakeem from back in the day, from the Rams, a guy who can do run multi different routes. He can do, in all different phases of the game. So I like St. Brown. I do. It was always between St. Brown or it was against Raymond, but I do. I would take a flyer, because in that game, listen, something's going to happen in that game that we're not going to expect, right? We all know that. Somebody's going to step up. It's Thanksgiving Day. We already know that. So, hey, I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on St. Brown. Absolutely. Why not? But when we get to receivers for Sunday, obviously top guy, Cooper Kupp, I'm still staying away from that 9,600. I'm still staying away from it. I need to see this offense, continue to go in the right direction, okay, with OBJ and no more Robert Woods. And I'm going to tell you what, me personally, I love the Minnesota-San Fran game. I do. I love that game. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game. And here's the thing. The reason why I'm talking about that specifically is I'm not paying $9,600 for Cooper Kupp when I could pay $8,300, drop $1,300 down, and get a Justin Jefferson. Or I can go even deeper and I can drop $1,800 down and go after a guy like Deebo Samuel, who has been a top 5 fantasy wide receiver. And how about Chris Godwin still getting no love at $7,000? No love for Chris Godwin should easily be an $8,000 play, in my opinion, going up against Indianapolis. Listen, it's in the dome. It's going to be a game of the ages. I'm telling you, it's going to be just like what you see. You're going to just get ready for your Chris Godwin, 7 catches, 60, 70, 80 yards, and at least 1 touchdown. That's what you're going to get. So for my money to 7,000, I would 100% drop it on Chris Godwin. Now, if you get on a list, again, DJ Moore gives you that value. He goes up. Okay, he definitely goes up a little bit. He's 5,900 last week. He did catch a touchdown last week. He's back at home with Cam. Not at home. They're playing at Miami, but just saying on a comfort level, he's back with Cam. Now, a very interesting look to me is Elijah Moore. And the only reason why I say that, and again, Joe Flacco on IR. Now we're talking about Zach Wilson, the interception machine comes back. And now we have to predict, can he continue to keep Elijah Moore remaining hot? Can he continue to do that? And listen, last week, 11 targets. All you need to do is look at the last 3 weeks. Actually, you can look at the last 5, okay? You can look at the last 5, and you can say to yourself, okay, this guy has 47 targets in 5 games, okay? He is undoubtedly representing himself as a very, very good young receiver. This is all going to depend on what Zach Wilson can do. But I like Elijah Moore this week for 5,600, especially against Houston. I like it. I don't care what happened last week with Tennessee. I think it's a joke. It's an absolute joke that Tennessee goes in there. I swear to God, it's fixed, in my opinion. That should never happen. 4 interceptions. Ryan Tannehill, 4 picks. Please, for the love of God, somebody name me a cornerback on Houston. Who the hell are you throwing the ball to? Okay, and that's the only it scares me, because I think Zach Wilson would throw the ball to me in a Jermaine O'Neal jersey if he could, because I don't think his sight is even there. His vision on the field is not even there. He's playing scared. So that's the only thing that would hinder me for falling as Elijah Moore as my core player. But for 5,600 for a guy as my flex, I really like Elijah Moore this week. I do. I think he'll continue to get involved one way or another and give you that value. Now, when you go down, I think there's a lot more value. Brandon Ayuk at 5,300, I think it's a huge value. You're finally starting to see Ayuk get involved. Now, I don't know what was happening in the beginning of the year. I don't know if there was some rift going on the sideline. I don't know if he had some obedience issues. I have no idea. But one thing for sure, when Jimmy Garoppolo gets protected and Jimmy Garoppolo can stand in the pocket, he will pick you apart. He just doesn't want to get touched. He doesn't want to mess up his hair. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo does. So what he wants to do is just throw the ball with ease with nobody around him. And he's starting to get Brandon Ayuk involved. I mean, this guy went from being non-existent, okay, non-existent to getting 26 targets in 4 games and 2 touchdowns in his last 4. Okay, he's starting to get those 8 for 80, 7 for 70 kind of games with the score that we looked forward to last year. They're playing at home, and he plays well at home as well. Okay, his last game at home against Arizona, 8 targets, 6 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown. And he's getting that number up to that 13, 14 yards per catch average, which is what you want to see. And for 5,300, I think, again, it's a very, very good play. Now, let's go down the line again and look at who other may kind of snip out to you a little bit and say, play me, coach, put me in. Who's undervalued? Man, I just picked up Jamal Agnew last week, a couple weeks ago, and now he goes down, right? Amazing. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? I'll say. Instead of who would have thought? Who would have thunk, right? I'll tell you what, a sneaky play against Tampa Bay, even though they won last night and the Giants lost, You could tell there was some opportunities to Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay, against the hurt secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This could be a tight T.Y. Hilton coming out party. Now, I was big on T.Y. Hilton a couple weeks ago, thinking it was going to be his coming out party. It never really happened. Okay, but this could be the week. And again, this is a value play, $4,000. I'm not saying that, this is all about touches and targets and values, right? So do I think he's going to get the huge target share? No, but do I think it could be a value for 4,000? Absolutely. So let's do it this way. Let's say who's going to be your number one targeted wide receiver this week? Who, not just catches, who's going to get the most targets off this list? I want to know who you think will get the most targets this week off this list. I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. I can't wait to see Devontae Adams go up against Jalen Ramsey. I think that's going to be must-see TV. But if you're asking me who gets the most targets on the slate when we talk about Sunday, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm going all in. I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. I do. I think Justin Jefferson gets the most target. I think he gets double-digit targets again, and he's going to be the most targeted receiver. All you need to do is see that if you look at his past 5 weeks, 3 of those weeks, out of those 5, he's been 10 or above, and even had 14 in week 6 against Carolina. This kid is an unbelievable stud. I cringe every time I watch him because he should be a Philadelphia Eagle if that front office had half a clue and knew what the hell they were doing. But obviously they don't, because he is a Viking. So yes, honestly, my guy is Justin Jefferson. Now, again, it's easy for me to say guy that'll underwhelm will be Cooper Kupp. But again, I'll look down the slate and tell you who I think is going to underwhelm this week. And I honestly think, if you look through, it's going to be Ja'Marr Chase. Listen, every time that, obviously you're going to play Ja'Marr Chase, but we're just talking about targets. Who's going to be the guy that's going to underwhelm? What I have to say is this rivalry game, and I got to get my man Mark Drumheller on to give me this stat because I'm sure he knows it, that this game always hits the under. This Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game always hits the under. I don't know what it is, but I could definitely see some kind of 19-16 game, something that's not clean, a lot of mistakes. I don't expect either team to really blow the roof off anywhere in Cincinnati. So, I think Ja'Marr Chase could underwhelm at 7,300. I do. I think they could be one of those guys that you have to be very careful about this week at DFS. His last 3 weeks, he's not even above 13. He did have that really good week in Baltimore, but then he's 13 again. So I can't. I know he's getting the targets, but listen. I need more, right? You can't give me 13 targets and your catch to target ratio is only 6 to 13, dude. That's under 40%. That's not good, right? That's not good. I can't take that, right? I can't take that. You're not even at 50%. So that's one of my biggest issues with Ja'Marr Chase right now. So I think this week, especially with the way that game script's going to go, I think he could be a guy that absolutely underwhelms. Now, if you go down a list and see if we can get some more value before we get out of here, we already went down. We're talking about $4,000 guys here. Maybe a guy that you go really, really down deep, and you look at a guy like a Quez Watkins in Philadelphia. Now, the reason why I say that is because obviously the Giants fire their offensive coordinator now. It's going to be, no more Jason Garrett. Hello, Freddie Kitchens. And, Quez Watkins was a guy in the beginning of the year that was getting a lot of love. And I think that, he felt a favor last week because he had a couple drops the week before. He was having some issues, getting the ball. But I think this is go time now. This is go time because obviously Jalen Reagor ain't it. Jalen Reagor ain't it. He stinks. Okay, Quez Watkins can be that guy that Jalen Hurts needs to get down the field, with Devontae Smith. So after 3,500 against this game, I know it's in New York and it's probably going to be cold, but I think this is going to be a really good game between these two teams, and I think there's going to be some points scored. It's 100% a 28-24 kind of game. I think the Eagles will be on the latter side of that at 28, but I think Quez gets back on track, and I could definitely see him turn into one of those performances he did in the beginning of the year, like a 7 for 50, right? A 5 for 44, something like that, and a touchdown. I think this could be a Quez, kind of day where he gets that long score and gives you that value for 3,500. Let's look at tight ends because I always bring up about tight ends, but we'll throw that in there as well because in this day and age, obviously they're just like a wide receiver, right? You got Kyle Pitts. Will he come back based off that bad game for 3 for 28 with Bill Belichick? Remember, Bill always stops the best weapon on the other team. I think again right here, total disrespect to me. Rob Gronkowski, 4,400 right now. Okay, 4,400. He has 8 targets, 6 for 71. Why is he only 4,400? I think he should be much higher. He's an easy $5,000 play. Get him in your lineup. He's going to get 8 targets once again because I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to love throwing at him against that Indianapolis defense. Trust me, mark my words, it will happen. Now, another nice sneaky play I like is Dan Arnold. I like Dan Arnold ever since he came over from Arizona. I know he didn't get anything last week. I get it. I'm not worried about it. This is how Trevor Lawrence is going to have to figure himself out. Because before that, 25 targets in 3 games. So you don't go away from that big target share and you go 0. That was just a bad game. Joey Bosa getting in his head, all that stuff going on. It's okay. Now he gets Atlanta, and Atlanta stinks. And he goes home, and he gets Atlanta, and they stink. Oh, by the way, did I tell you they get Atlanta, and they stink? So this is the kind of game that Trevor Lawrence gets back on track with. That I think Dan Arnold, from a target share standpoint, from the tight end, I think this is an easy 7 to 8 target game. So look at him for 4,000. You go down the list and see if anybody else kind of stands out. I think this, honestly, this could be where, Mo Alley Cox gets a play. I know I was big on him in the beginning of the year. He kind of fell out of favor. The Irishman, Jack Doyle, coming back into play here. But for 2,600 in a game where I think should be decent when it comes to points, I think he's no risk, low risk, high reward, right? You'll always talk about that low risk, high reward when you're looking at some of these guys. But yeah, you know who could be a sneaky good play from a tight end spot. And again, he every now and then he'll give you a 5 for 50, 6 for 40, and possibly score is Jordan Akins from the Houston Texans. Now, the New York Jets have the worst defense in all of football. Okay. Worst defense in all of football. And they're playing in Houston. So we don't have to worry about all the shenanigans about, all, the mental aspect of playing bad in front of your home crowd. They're playing on the road, 2,700 for Jordan Akins. If you can get 6 for 50 and possibly a score, if I can get double-digit points for 2,700 out of my tight end, especially a guy that'll probably be low ownership, I think you do that all day long. But again, on that, I'm going to get out of here. I had some fun. We keep this under 30 minutes. We're about 28 minutes. Again, check this out on replay. I know everybody's checking that DFS Discord right now, getting into those games, which I don't blame you. But again, give us a follow at Win Daily Sports. Go check us out, windailysports.com. Get, on the weekends on Sirius, you can get entered to get your free month. You'll absolutely love it. You get in that Discord where all the coaches are. All these guys are hitting every single day. It's fun. That's the thing. It's like a big DFS family, which I love being a part of, and I appreciate the platform for them allowing to bring Jigsaw into your house, especially on an off night. On Tuesday night, it's supposed to be off tonight. It'll be off tonight, but I'm here. It is what it is. But I love every minute of it. But as always, everybody have a great night. Check us out in the comments, windailysports.com. Give me a follow at TKTL23. Catch you next time, probably tomorrow night. Everybody be safe. Stay healthy.